Hey everybody, I'm Holly, aka the Q-ANut, and welcome back to part 3 of the QAnon Wikipedia article reading. I will put the link for the Discord for the Q-ANut in the description, as well as the Discord for the Scientologeek and the YouTube channel for Scientologeek. So, not wasting any time, I don't have any announcements. Let's get started with the reading.
International following. Marc-Andre Argentino, a researcher of the movement, noted in August 2020 that QAnon-dedicated Facebook pages existed in 71 countries worldwide. In January 2021, researcher Joel Finkelstein told the Washington Post that the German and Japanese QAnon movements were particularly strong and growing, though according to a later New York Times report, the Japanese version, also known as J-ANon, remains a fringe belief even among conspiracy theorists.
So I'll have to check out J-ANon later now, because I want to know what this is.
3 pro-QAnon groups in Japan are known to exist as of 2022. J-ANon, Q Army Japan Flynn, and Yamato Q. In April 2022, the Tokyo Metropolitan Police arrested several members of Yamato Q for breaking into a health clinic which provided COVID-19 vaccinations. Between March and June 2020, during the COVID-19 pandemic, QAnon activity nearly tripled on Facebook and nearly doubled on Instagram and Twitter. By that time, QAnon had spread to Europe from the Netherlands to the Balkan Peninsula. In Germany, far-right activists and influencers have created a German audience for QAnon on YouTube, Facebook, and Telegram, estimated at 200,000. German Reichsbürger groups, I know I pronounced that wrong, so pardon me to anybody from Germany or who speaks German, adopted QAnon to promote its belief that modern Germany is not a sovereign republic, but rather a corporation created by allied nations after World War II, and expressed their hope that Trump would lead an army to restore the Reich.
Wow, okay, so this is interesting. First off, the corruption created by the corporation created by allied nations seems very similar to sovereign citizens, which I'm sure they're going to get into on here, and expressed their hope that Trump would lead an army to restore the Reich. Damn, that's just kind of terrifying, to be honest.
In Russia, a similar conspiracy theory, the Soviet Citizens, which claims the Russian Federation is a Delaware-based LLC that occupies the legal territory of the Soviet Union, also became susceptible to QAnon beliefs.
There's a page for Soviet citizens. We're going to take a quick look. Union of Slavic Forces of Russia. Also known as necromancers, is an informal social movement whose supporters are convinced that the Soviet Union, as a sovereign state and subject of international relations, de jure continues to exist, consider themselves its citizens, and on this basis refuse to recognize the constitutional system of the modern Russian Federation, observe its current legislation, or obey existing government authorities. So it's Russian sovereign citizens, but they believe that they are still in the Soviet Union. That's crazy.
1 in 4 Britons are said to believe in QAnon-related theories, though only 6% support QAnon. In October 2020, anti-racist advocacy group Hope Not Hate said that British influencer Martin Geddes ran one of the most popular QAnon Twitter accounts in the world. In October 2021, Remy Dalle Wiedemann, a French QAnon-associated conspiracy theorist, was charged with terrorism for having planned a coup against the French government.
Holy crap, this thing has really far-reaching branches.
Various associates of this person were also arrested and charged in late 2021 and early 2022. Many Canadians have also promoted QAnon. In July 2020, an armed gunman and QAnon follower drove a vehicle into the grounds of Rideau Hall, or Rideau, the temporary residence of Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, in order to arrest him over COVID-19 restrictions and firearm regulations. A February 8th article in The Guardian described the 2022 convoy protests in Canada as the result of coordination between QAnon, conspiracy theorists, and anti-vaccine and anti-government operations.
Now, mentioning the whole Canadian QAnon thing, I wouldn't be surprised if some of the people in there believed in that woman who says she's the Queen of Canada. It's more of a sovereign citizen thing, not necessarily a QAnon thing, but I could see sovereign citizens being affiliated with Q. But there's this woman in Canada who says that she is basically calls herself the Queen of Canada. And there are people who actually believe her. One of her, not doctrines, but one of her orders was basically don't pay your bills. And then people all over Canada were like, I haven't been paying my bills like you said, and I'm still getting my stuff shut off. How do I fix this? And it's just kind of funny to watch them fall over such a stupid claim.
The movement has also spread to Spain and Latin America, with countries like Costa Rica, Colombia, Argentina, Mexico, Paraguay, and Brazil having an online presence. La Nacion reported in 2020 that the Facebook page QAnon Costa Rica was spreading misinformation and fake news, called to depose President Carlos Alvarado, and extolled right-wing figures such as far-right presidential candidate Juan Diego Castro Fernandez and controversial deputies Dragos Dolanescu Valenciano and Eric Rodriguez Steller. In Spain, the far-right Vox party was accused of endorsing anti-Biden conspiracy theories linked to QAnon in its Twitter account by claiming that Biden was the candidate, quote, preferred by an RTVE News report found that most Spanish QAnon supporters identified Vox as their preferred political party.
I'm curious as to what relation they have to the network Vox. Okay, completely different logo, too. Alright, thank God. Pastel QAnon. I would like to dive into this one at some point. But that'd be very interesting.
Pastel QAnon, identified by Concordia University researcher Marc-Andre Argentino, is a collection of techniques aimed predominantly at indoctrinating women into the conspiracy theory, mainly on social media sites like Instagram, Facebook, Telegram, and YouTube. It co-opts the aesthetics and language of social media influencers, often using personal anecdotes and gateway issues, i.e. child sex trafficking, to frame QAnon beliefs as reasonable.
So it's using a different aesthetic. So it's using images like this to appeal to women. It's scary, the fact that they're still doing this. The fact they even figured out how to do this. The fact that they figured out the specific marketing techniques to get to them. But, alright, so I think we're going to do Q's posts, and then we'll stop before the cabal. So,
claims. Q's posts. Q made thousands of posts on 4chan and 8chan/8kun. These drops were often elusive, cryptic, and impossible to verify. Some included strings of characters that are allegedly coded messages. Q used a conspiratorial tone with phrases like, I've said too much, or some things must remain classified to the very end. To sustain faith in a final victory over the cabal, Q used recurring phrases such as trust the plan, enjoy the show, and nothing can stop what is coming. Q's messages typically claimed that everything was going as planned, that Trump was in control, and that all his adversaries would end up in prison. Q also encouraged followers to do their own research by telling them to follow the white rabbit.
Their own research is going to lead them down biased media websites, and if you're already a conspiracy theorist and you search a lot on Google, Google's going to start sending you conspiracy theory pages in your search results. So, again, confirmation bias. They're going to search for the things that they think are true, and they're going to search for them in such a way, be like, this is true, such and such, instead of looking at both sides of the argument. They're just going to be looking for stuff that agrees with their point of view. And I think everybody does that to some extent with whatever views they have, whether they're political, social, I don't know. But, I mean, I'm guilty of it too, but I'm trying to keep an eye out.
QAnon followers used the white rabbit reference both as a hashtag and as the name of a Facebook group that had around 90,000 members in 2020. Many early posts advanced claims about deep state collusion with foreign powers. During 2018, Q mentioned geopolitical conspiracies such as the Obama administration having planned to send technology to Iran and North Korea. Later, Q found new targets such as Planned Parenthood, which he accused of harvesting fetuses for profit, or Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who he said was a member of the cabal. Over the years, other topics of interest included Russian interference, child trafficking, Jeffrey Epstein, Antifa, and Hunter Biden. Becoming increasingly vague over time, Q's posts allowed followers to map their own beliefs onto them and develop new variations of the theory. Author Walter Kern has described Q as an innovator among conspiracy theorists by enthralling readers with clues rather than presenting claims directly. The audience for internet narratives doesn't want to read, it wants to write. It doesn't want answers provided, it wants to search. but the messages in Q's posts often hinged on specific predictions that turned out to be false, such as Hillary Clinton was about to be arrested and would attempt to flee the country, John Podesta would be arrested on November 3rd, 2017, and public riots would be organized to try and prevent the arrest of the other public officials. A major event involving the Department of Defense would take place on February 1st of 2018. People targeted by Trump would be en masse on February 10th of 18. There would be a car bombing in London around February 16th, 2018. A smoking gun video of Hillary Clinton would emerge in March of 18. Something major would happen in Chongqing on April 10th of 18. There would be a bombshell revelation about North Korea in May of 18. The Trump military parade would never be forgotten. The Five Eyes won't be around much longer. Mark Zuckerberg was going to leave Facebook and flee the United States. Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey would be forced to resign next in the context of the prediction of Zuckerberg's resignation. Pope Francis would have a terrible May in 2018.
And I'm sure none of these worked out.
On multiple occasions, Q has dismissed these incorrect predictions as deliberate, claiming that disinformation is necessary.
Which means you can literally just say anything, and they'll either believe you're right, or they'll say disinformation is necessary, and it's basically like a test of faith, being like, if it's not right, it's disinformation. If it's not right, it was a test of faith.
This has led Australian psychologist Stephen Lewandowski to emphasize the self-sealing quality of the conspiracy theory, highlighting its anonymous purveyor's use of plausible deniability, and noting that evidence against it can become evidence of its validity in the minds of believers. The numerous false, unsubstantiated claims Q has posted include that the CIA installed North Korean leader Kim Jong-un as a puppet ruler, that U.S. Representative and former Democratic National Committee Chair Debbie Wasserman Schultz hired Salvadoran gang MS-13 to murder DNC staffer Seth Rich, an apparent suggestion that German Chancellor Angela Merkel is Adolf Hitler's granddaughter, that Obama, Hillary Clinton, George Soros, and others are planning a coup against Trump and are involved in an international that the Mueller investigation was actually a counter-coup led by Trump, who pretended to conspire with Russia in order to hire Mueller to secretly investigate the Democrats and expose the that the Rothschild family leads a satanic cult. This is a centuries-old anti-Semitic trope against the family.
So it's like a lot of these are Q, except for that last. Well, maybe the German Chancellor one I don't think is necessarily just a Q conspiracy. I think that's been around for a while. And that the Rothschild family leads a satanic cult. They had to throw in the Rothschilds. They probably thrown in the Rockefellers too somewhere. But it's already getting to be a long video. I am going to hop off here. As usual, like the video if you like it. Dislike if you don't. I don't really care. Comment with your feedback or questions, good, bad, or sideways. And subscribe to be kept up to date on any future content. I'll talk to all of you later. See ya.